Hey, I'm Amanda with Make That Canvas, and today I'm going to show you how to make this teepee. We have canvas wholesale all the time in Big Duck, and that's what I use for this. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. This is just one kind of teepee. There are a ton out there. They're really cool structures, but I'm excited to show you how to make this particular kind. So the first thing we're going to do is get our materials together and get started.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is get your materials together. You're going to want to get some poles. These I got at my local hardware store. They're 8 feet long. I have twine that's going to hold your poles together, and you're going to use it to hold the canvas to the poles. And canvas. This is a fire retardant canvas. It's essential anytime you're building any kind of enclosure that you always use a fireproof material. This is our 10.10 ounce certified fireproof Army duck. It's also mildew and water repellent, so it's awesome to use for tents. I've also got clamps. If you're working by yourself, you're going to need these to help hold the poles together while you're constructing things. I've gone ahead and drilled some holes here. You don't have to do that, but it's going to give you some really great options when you're tying your poles together, just to have some areas to weave the twine through. Those are drilled 1 foot down from the top. So the next thing we're going to do is lay our fabric out and figure out how big we want the bottom of our teepee to be. Okay, so we're going to start with our teepee floor. I'm going to use the same canvas for the floor, and if I do choose to put it outside, I'm going to put it on top of a tarp, because although it is water repellent, it isn't waterproof. So this is going to be the opening on this side. It's 55 inches. It's a little bit bigger than the rest of the sides, 42, 42, 42, 42. We've got 5 points because we have 5 poles, so it's a pentagon. And I did it as wide as I could do it on the 60-inch wide fabric to get the biggest teepee that we can get out of it. And the next thing we're going to do is cut this out, and I'll show you how to attach this to the poles. Start cutting this out. Pieces of the floor. I've got a top piece and a bottom piece. I've got twine that I've cut out at 42 inches. These pieces will be sewed in the floor to use as ties to the poles. And so next what we're going to do is move to the sewing machine and get all this sewed together. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to sew the ties in to your teepee floor. This is the 42-inch piece of twine. I'm going to take it and fold it one time in half, and then fold it in half again to get it like that. I'm going to take it, put it inside these 2 layers of the teepee floor. I'll just have a little bit poking out here, and you can just pin that so it doesn't move on you when you're sewing. So that is inside. That'll go over. I'm just going to pick that up. Key. Got a straight stitch on. So start sewing. I'm going to sew over this twine now. I'm going to go back over it just another time, make sure it's really in there good. Okay, so I've I've turned the teepee floor right side out, and this is how the corners look finished, and that's what's going to tie around your poles like that. So we have that at each corner. This is just the opening where I pulled it through, so I'm just going to quickly close that up with a top stitch. Just going to put this stitch really close to the edge. Okay, so before we move on, I just wanted to show you real quick how it's coming together. And we've got our floor tied onto our poles with our twine. This is the reason for the clamps here. They help hold everything together before I've tied it together. So this is how I'm going to take my measurements. We're going to have the fabric come up to about here. That's 72 inches. So we're going to have 4 panels that are all the same, 72 inches on each side of the triangle and 42 at the bottom. And then this is going to be the opening, and it's going to be, we'll go over how to do the door. It's going to be different than the other side. So anyway, we're going to move on, but I just want to show you real quick how it's turning out so far. Alright, I am sewing together the 4 sides that are the smaller triangles. I'm putting in twine here so that it can tie onto the poles on the inside. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm about to go over the twine. I have it laid out like this and kind of pinned here. So I'm going to take this pin out and just sew right over it. And go backwards over it, nice and secure. Just going to keep going. Just got this one side to finish, and then we'll move on to the door, and I'll show you how to do the door. This is really heavy. There's a lot going on. It wants to slide off the table, and you want to make sure you keep it kind of up near you so it doesn't pull away from your needle and mess up your stitches. Alright, I've got the door cut out and laid out here for you. I went ahead and did the slit up the center for the opening. I've got these pieces of twine laid out kind of where I'm going to sew them. They're going to be used to tie the door closed from the inside when you're in there. And then these are going to be loops that stick out so that if you're outside of the TV, you can tie it open like this. So we'll just need to move to the machine and sew these things together. I am sewing the opening of the teepee right now, and this fabric, this is the slit I made in the middle. I'm just going to take the edge of the fabric and just fold it in 3/4 of an inch and do a top stitch on the outside so that at the door opening there isn't a raw edge sticking out. It's just kind of nicely folded over and you've got the stitch there. So I'll just quickly do that to both sides of the opening. And then after that, I'll sew the ties in. So I'm at the top of the opening, and I just want to show you, I just did a small slit at that top with my scissors so that I can fold that edge under like that. It's just really tiny, but it allows you to go all the way up to the edge. So now I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm starting to sew the ties in to the door here, and we are on the inside of the door, as if you're inside the teepee. And I have my twine, just made a little knot in the end, just so that it kind of makes it look nice, since you're going to have to be seeing that from the inside. I went down the side and just stuck pins in all the places that I want ties. There's no like right or wrong, just put ties wherever you think you need them. I did 3. So over that, I'm going to go over it a few times. Alright, here we have our teepee. Up here, I tied the poles and wrapped it, and there really isn't any right or wrong way to do it. If it's tied together tight, it's right. And you can just play with the configuration. This went over the top of the poles actually. This is a hole here in the top of the teepee. Once I had it all sewed, I just kind of set it down on top of the poles and tied in all the seams here on the inside. You can see everything's tied. These are the ones that will tie it off from the inside, but I've got it kind of opened up so that you can see. I'm going to keep going with this and do some embellishing on it. You can check that out in another video and do some stencils and things like that, even though it does look great just plain, but I think it'll be a lot of fun to keep going with it. So thanks for checking out this TP video, and we look forward to seeing you again.